Based on the insurrection narrative, one would have thought that there would have been hundreds of prosecutions for the federal crime of insurrection set out in 18 U.S.C. Section 2383, but there has not been one, not even one. The prosecutors apparently did not believe they could prove the elements of the crime of insurrection, which carried a penalty of 10 years. And by the way, if they could get a penalty of 10 years, if they could charge a crime that will result in a 10-year sentence, why didn't they use it? Why didn't they charge insurrection? Because they couldn't prove it. Even these loathsome people in Washington, D.C., these prosecutors, this Department of Injustice, who hate everything Republican and everything that these people stood for on January 6th, yes, they should have been prosecuted for any laws they violated. But hate whatever they stood for, even they could not dig up anything that would indicate this is insurrection. I tell people all the time, if this were an insurrection, this were an attempt to overthrow the government, it is the most inept, underfunded, underarmed, undermanned insurrection in the history of mankind. You know, there was not one firearm recovered from any of these J6 defendants. Nobody was charged with a firearms violation. So they are attempting to commit an insurrection without any firearms. It's the worst. It's the worst attempt at overthrowing a government I've ever seen. But this is exactly why there was no insurrection, ladies and gentlemen. There were a bunch of knuckleheads and some very bad people in a few specific cases that engaged in this behavior on January 6th. And by the way, a lot of people who did something maybe as careless as walking into the Capitol after the fact, so to speak, and they were charged with trespassing. Some of those people went to prison for a year for walking in for 3 or 4 minutes into the Capitol. But this juxtaposed to what we see in Portland, where the vast majority of people were not even convicted of a crime for which they had been arrested. They were just let go. Cases dismissed. It's disgusting.